Hi, it's Martin's Engine Services. Well, it's time for part two on Operation Tractor. I did have a look at the electromagnetic clutch, and it's not really dragging that bad. It's just got a bit of rust around it, so I'm not going to take it off. However, one thing I found underneath is there's some sort of a bar connected to the front here. This item here is some sort of lifter, and that's connected to a rod that goes through. I don't know if you can quite see. Yeah, a rod here which goes back through. That's all bent completely, and the rod underneath has been smacked back under the tractor, and it's actually bent up like that. It's sitting against the belts and one of the idler pulleys, and it's all mangled up underneath. So you can see by that front plate here, I think we've been involved in an accident. So I think what I'm going to do is unbolt that bent thing out the way, take that piece out and get that rod out the way, and that should then get rid of what's some of the rubbing problem. So the rest of it's not an issue. There's just a bit of rust between like the two halves of the clutch that go together like an AC clutch, and they're just a bit crusty. So I don't think that's going to hurt at all. So I think that needs to come out of the way, because in fact that's actually blocking the outlet of the exhaust. So let's undo some bolts and see what comes off. Let's have a look. We've got a couple of fairly hefty springs in there. They look interesting. Let's undo the bolts and see what happens. It would appear that Briggs & Stratton have discovered metric, but the rest of the tractor appears to be imperial, so that's quite clever, that. Let's undo a few bolts, see what happens. You might see a few parts go flying past in the moment, but hey ho, that livens up the day a bit. Hey, that's it, it's all on the floor. Yep, 1/2 inch AF. I'm not sure what this part. Oh yeah, this bolt's to the bonnet. Of course, this is to the bonnet. Or was to the bonnet. Yeah, the bonnet would bolt through these lugs, but I think the bits inside the bonnet are long gone. Right. Well, that's defused that safely. Oh dear. I think we can safely say that that's not quite exactly as designed. Still, we'll put the bolts back in it. Due diligence and all that. So it looks like we're dealing with some accident damage. I did notice actually also that the front axle doesn't pivot. Normally the axle in there pivots to give you some rudimentary suspension, but that's not moving at all. But I guess it's quite likely it's seized on the pivot. Unless of course it's actually bent. No, it looks pretty straight. Well, I think that's the least of its issues at the moment. I'm sure we can rectify that if it comes to it. So let's put this part out of the way. Ever increasing pile of bits. I'll just bring you down there and let you actually have a look at the state of everything. You can see that's all bent in here. This bracket's bent there, and that's all bowed in. And that rod heads off at an angle. That's bent there, so you see that's pretty mangled. So yeah, I think we've been. I think we had a bit of a combat damage in the garden there. It would actually take quite a bit of bending. That you see, it's a fairly substantial piece of steel. Now let's see if we can get it off. The idea is you take the R clip out and slide that back, but that's obviously rammed hard up against the framework, so Maybe if we take the bolts out, they might be able to spring it out. On the other hand, oh, that one's come out. Okay, there we go. Success. Oh dear. I think we can all see. Yes. So you can see the thickness of that. That would take quite a bit of bending. Oh well. Another part to the pile. Must have been quite a good hit actually, because this lug's gone round that way a bit and that's gone over there. So this is still wrapped up around the pulleys, so that's going to be fun to get out. I mean, that's easy enough to straighten up. I say it's probably not going back together, but we'll keep all the parts together anyhow. I mean, if it does work okay, it's quite possible that the two old gentlemen with the small holding might be interested in this, because to add to their collection of machines like this. So I did some work on his engine earlier this year. I've still actually got a seal to put in that engine. At the end of the growing season, he's going to pop it back, and I'm going to fit the little seal into the engine, which took me quite some time to get hold of, but it's not leaking in at the moment, so he's quite happy. Right, sorry, got off on a tangent there. I just got to put a bolt in that to stop it keep falling off. Yes, it's definitely metric. I can imagine all the sort of reaction at the factory the day they announced we're going to make metric engines. Oh, I can imagine half the people there collapsed with shock. Straighten some of this up to roughly what it's supposed to look like. I know it's immaterial, but things like that just annoy me. There we go, look at that. Oh, likewise, there's one missing the other side, so I'll go find a bolt for that. It'll keep me happy. Well, I've got that rod out. You can see the poor chap's a bit supposed to be straight, and there's another piece at the end which used to be 90 degrees to there, with all wrapped up underneath, so that came out quite easy actually. I'm not entirely sure what it's supposed to do. This doesn't actually connect to anything whatsoever. It just sits in a slot, and that's it really. No idea. I'll just straighten it out and stick it back, get it out of the way, but quite spectacularly bent, I think. Well, I straighten that thing out, I put it back, I cannot see what it does. But it's out of the way now and it's off the belt. So let's have a go at this starter motor. Just move things around a little bit, so stand by. Right, got a good dual charge battery here. So first of all, we'll just put the wrong terminal, so I'll just grip everything on as usual. You can't beat the good old vice grips. A channel worth checking out actually is Vice Grip Garage with Derek Bieri from America, and he gets all them cars going that have been in fields for God knows how many years, and he'll fix anything, anywhere, anytime. He's a great character. He's got a lovely family, and he does a lot of YouTube, and always worth a look. And he loves a vice grip. He can hold anything together with that. And another good channel is called What the Rust with Richard and Christina, where they revive old cars that have been buried in hedges and fields, and he will unseize and get practically anything running, even total lost causes. Whenever he puts a battery lead on, he always calls it the fire test. So let's have a fire test. No sparks, and he holds it on for a while, and he sees if the smoke comes out, and if no smoke comes out, he says then it must be good. So they're both great channels, always worth a watch. So, I guess we better put a nut on the starter motor. That'd be quite interesting. Oh, and of course, that is now Imperial, so I'm just going to have to go find a nut to fit that. Right, there's one. That is, what have we got? 3/16 Whitworth. From my stash of old nuts, bolts and washers and bits and pieces, I never throw any of them away. You never know what you're going to need. Now, we'll find something to attach that to there in a moment. And then obviously we haven't got a key, so let's unplug the ignition barrel. He says, let's unplug the ignition barrel. Okay. Let's take the whole switch out, might be easier. And of course that doesn't want to come undone either. Marvellous. There we go. These are only generic key switches, they're nothing. You can buy these for a couple of quid at the parts shop, so if it ever went back together again, it's not a problem. Right, what have we got on the belt? Good grief, okay. Wow. Okay, folks. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wires. Right. Got 1, 2, 3, 5 pins on the switch. Well, this looks like good fun. Okay. It's an orange and sort of, well, nope. Oh my heavens, how's this work? I think we'll do a bit of a hot wire job on this and just see if we can get it to crank. I think we might need a wiring diagram to sort this one out. Now I'm guessing that these two wires that are out here probably go into this fuse holder here. Well, let's not connect them up yet until we find out what's about to happen. Right, that's that on there. Grab the trusty power probe and see what's what. Okay. Ooh. Okay. Answer, not a lot. Seems like we got a bad connection there somewhere. Well, I'll give that a go through that, clean it up, and then see how we get on. Right. Well, I had a change of plan. I've just gone and got another battery cable, and there's a good one. I'm going to put it straight on the starter, bypass everything, and see what happens. Oh, wow. Okay, well, no problem there then. Starter works fine. Well, starter works fine. Sounds like we've got compression, so great. I'd imagine that the solenoid's corroded and these small leads get corrosion in the ends, or the ends are crimped on and often do play up, so I'll just go through all them. Right. Fantastic. Well, I suppose the next question is, do we have any spark? So, actually, these are pretty clean, really. So we'll put the coils back and see what happens. Standard gapping procedure, piece of cardboard. Lost the bolts. We're trying one coil at a time, just to make sure that one's not shorted out and earthing the other one out. So we'll try this one first, see if we've got a spark on this one, and then vice versa. Or something like that. Snug that up against there. These aren't cylinder head bolts, they don't have to be done up that tight. That'll do. That'll do. What about the tool? Now make sure it's not catching. So, stuff a spark plug in. Position it there and see what happens. You can get a better view of that. Right. Ah, safety switches. Yes, we have a spectacular spark. Right, let's try the other one then. Right, well. Almost quite scary, really. This may look like the back of a well-known cereal packet, but it is actually the proper official Breach and Stratton tool. Oh, I'll just try them both and see what happens. Not messing around. Confidence, confidence. It would be if you can get it to go in there. Right. Right. Could we be 2 for 2? Well, we shall soon find out. We'll try the other spark plug. Let's not be fooled into thinking just use the same plug, because you never know, it could be a bad spark plug. So let's try them both so we both see them sparking together. Right, are we 2 for 2? Is this really looking this good? No, we're not. Aha. No, we are not, folks. Ah. We have a bad coil. I'll take this wire off just for the hell of it, but I doubt it. New. Well, let's check the other spark plug is good as well. Right, so we do in fact have a bad coil. It just goes to prove how easy it is to fall into the trap. Right. It's probably got corrosion where it's gone in here into the windings or something, so it's hardly surprising. I'll go and see if we can borrow one from a standard single cylinder engine. Go and have a look in the parts department. Well, looks exactly the same to me. Let's stick it on and find out. Find out. Oh, cylinder side, this side up. Okay. Will fit in there. Sorry, it's just a little bit of a battle to convince it to line up. Okay, what's going on here? come back to that in a moment. Maybe there is a slight difference. Hold up, people. Okay, back in a moment. Let's just go and check something out. Right, we've done a little bit of fettling, a little bit of fiddling, and a bit of filing, and it seems to fit. So, I'm not entirely sure you're supposed to do that, but let's see what happens. Right, here we go. Bingo! We have a spark on both cylinders. Wow. I definitely don't think that's what you're supposed to do, but let's pretend we didn't see that. So, if it all works out nicely, I'll probably treat it to a coil, but we've done a little bit of adjustment on that one, shall we say. And it does seem to work, so at least it'll do just to prove it's going to actually run. All that's basically the difference is the slots aren't quite long enough, so I've just basically slotted it open a bit more. It's now a more universal coil, and that's my excuse. Right. Long enough. Wasn't quite the same spark as the other side, but then again the end of this lead's not the best, but actually lead work for now. Right, let's see what she's got when you crank it under compression. Wow, that's a pretty impressive starter motor. Well, I suppose the next thing to do is to treat it to little petrol. I'm going to have a cursory look up the carburettor before we do anything else to make sure it's not stuck flat out or something similar. Right, so that's the idle position there. Okay. I guess the governor will pull that back to idle, but let's not find out. How can we hold that? Thinking time. I want to make sure that doesn't go flat out. I can't imagine the floating needle are going to work, but I might for a laugh pour a bit of petrol down there. Although I'm still not convinced about that being the fuel line. But I can't see any other place fuel can go. It does sound like it's blowing out into the car, but that could be through the jet. I don't know. I really don't know. Let's pop this cover off and get this out of the way just so we can attach something to the throttle. It'd be a shame for it to start now after all this and then red flat out and explode, so let's try a little bit more little decorum. Oh no, you have to take everything off. Oh, there's the crankcase breather, there's the stop solenoid on the fuel. No, that must be the fuel intake. Although without that powered up, of course, it won't work, so we'll give it a bit of fuel injection, that will do. Although we could power that up, I suppose, wouldn't be a problem. More parts for the pile. What I'll do, I'll lower the back down a little bit and I'll just drip some fuel in the car, but I just want to see if it's going to fire. Or fire being the operative word. So I'll get that ready and then we'll see what happens. Right, here we go. Fuel injection system. Number 1. Fuel, way too much there. Good grief, mate. Okay. Right then, avoiding that. Yes, I have done up the nut on the middle of the flywheel. I just thought of that. Right. Live lead. Throttle shut. Here we go. Whoa. Hey! It runs. Success. That horrible squeaking is the clutch underneath. Wow, how about that? You can't argue with that. I did put quite a lot of lubricant or penetrant down the cylinders, so that's what that smoke was. But oh, fantastic! How about that? There's quite a few bugs and creatures has just come running out from various places around the cylinder head, so they're probably not too impressed with that. Oh, fantastic! Fantastic. Well, I think we'll call that part 2 and I'll have a little tinker around and work out the wiring and stuff. But there we go. We have a running engine. So we've modified a coil off of a single cylinder Briggs. Well, actually it was a Briggs copy. So that works. So, oh, brilliant. She sounded rather nice. So, great. So I hope you like part 2 and actually seen some interesting progress and no explosion and big fires and backfires, etc. So, all went to plan. So thanks very much indeed for watching. Please like and subscribe. It's much appreciated. Bye for now.